do a brief overview analysis of the headlines. And we will start, thank you. Thank you. We'll just start with a brief on the ECOWAS pronouncement on Jammeh. ECOWAS, probably, if you fail to see the headlines or read the article itself, ECOWAS is warning President Jammeh to stay away, not to cause trouble in the Gambia, and not to destabilize the country. Technically, that's what they're referring to. And President Barrow came back to the Gambia, I believe, where he was interviewed. And President Barrow said, yes, they are asking, he said, President Barrow said, ECOWAS is asking Jammeh to stop doing audios and not to destabilize the peace and stability of the Gambia. Now, just listening to those two expose a lot and the trouble we are in. For a sitting sovereign president that has served almost 8 years to 9 years would have to go to ECOWAS because of the dictator that we deposed. You know, this exposed that Barrow was not the person who deposed Jammeh. It was the Gambian people. For that president to tell ECOWAS, have to go to ECOWAS, for ECOWAS to give out a pronouncement to Jammeh not to misbehave. Technically, this is what they say. For 8 years. I would want us to briefly look at the position of ECOWAS first. They are the sub-regional body. They have a mandate to support democratization, peace stabilization, and economic development within the sub-region, within the member states. But are they serving that purpose? Absolutely not. And we are going to dive into the evidence. ECOWAS is serving, not technically or anything, and not allegedly, serving the interests of the imperialists, and that is France for that matter. France for that matter. And it's sad they have one of the biggest agents, and people might think I'm referring to Ouattara of Ivory Coast. No, Nigeria now. It's so sad that the grandpa acting as president of Nigeria that stole an elections now is controlled by a young man in France acting as a president of the French Republic. We don't have time to dive into all the evidence, but we know frequently, for the first time frequently, a Nigerian head of state visiting France, not only for his medical, but because of that's where he takes his orders from. That's where he have a lot of wealth. That's where 3 of his kids have a lot of wealth. To protect this wealth, he's on a ransom with the French to do as they say and do. Now, that president has failed completely, just as his predecessors, to arrest the corruption. Right now, one of the biggest corruption is happening, be in the armed forces, be in everywhere else. That's why they have the instability in Nigeria, just as it's been happening, but it's getting worse. To the point of they are trying to stop Dangote, who has invested multi-million dollars to build one of the world's biggest fuel refinery, to the point of reducing the cost for consumers, but because there's a cartel, economic cartel, who are taking, in fact, stealing most of the oil from Nigeria, taking it to Malta to refine and to bring back to Nigeria to sell. Now this guy have invested millions of dollars, which is creating more jobs, which is reducing the cost of energy and everything. They are out there to fight him. But with the big, big army they have been stealing the procurement. to the point of their soldiers don't have the weapons to fight, or they don't have the ammunition to fight. Now, all over the country, the south, there's this threat of this. In fact, the Biafra war happening again. But in the north, you have the terrorists, you have the bandits. They choose to call them bandits, probably religious, but they are just like terrorists, ransoms and everything else going on. To the point of bringing the witness of Nigeria that another criminal in America called Donald Trump, with his Christian nationalists, Zionist nationalists, are trying to use the witness in the governance of Nigeria to plunge that country even far more in order to stop Dangote refinery and in order to get access to the other wealth that have still not been exploited in Nigeria, that's the rare minerals. They talk about Muslims-Christian war, it's a lie. They have insecurity, they have terrorists, and both Christians and Muslims are affected, especially Christians in the northern part of Nigeria. But it's not due to religion. It's due to malgovernance and corruption. Almost a century now of corruption. That country that have everything to develop. That country that have everything to lead Africa. That country that have everything to be champion of black people in the things have been reduced for a French president to control, and not only that, to influence and to use Nigeria to be able to have the influence they have been losing in West Africa. Now, we have seen the evidence that ECOWAS have lost the credibility completely. Their agenda is one thing alone, is to keep the member state as French like it. They can have puppet, corrupt and everything that would not have any strategic economic development plan that would benefit its people, but they would have to rely on a French in order for the French to sustain themselves. Without Africa and West African countries especially, France would be non-existent soon. And this is what they are doing. What are the evidence? Let's start with Benin. Benin. If we understand the history of Benin, the political history of Benin, that went through coup d'etats, instability, until they regained their senses and regained their senses and went into multi-party democracy, probably before Nigeria, if I can remember. And they have been changing governments with a two-term and with elections free and fair, and they were celebrated. In the index of human rights, they were among the top African countries or developing countries. If it comes to freedom of speech, they were at the top of everything. They had now a businessman just like Trump come into politics and happen to get elected, and for almost a decade now that he have been serving, the democracy in Benin have been reduced for nearly nothing without ECOWAS doing anything about it. Malgovernance. Without doing anything about it. The constitution been butchered many times. The presidential opposition candidates been disqualified, been prosecuted, locked up, tortured, journalists been killed, prosecuted, where there's no sense of free and fair elections. But every time every time they have an election or whatever it is, ECOWAS and the so-called international community would say it was calm and orderly. Calm and orderly, instead of looking at the credibility of the elections, is the conduct on the day, whether it was calm and orderly, but not whether it was fraudulent, because it was already fraudulent before the day. But Benin not because of their natural resources, because they're mainly on cotton, but it's their strategic location. Their Port Novo, where there's a pipeline serving, and Benin serving as frontier, providing one of the countries that provides an outlet for the Sahel countries that are in a landlocked these things, and they are now in defiance with ECOWAS. You see, there's a strategic kind of role Benin played, and they ensure this president will continue. He have butchered the constitution to the level that when he said he's going to honor the two-term, people that did not know clapped for him. But no, he has changed the constitution to the extent that he is going to make sure the person becoming the president would be a person of his choosing. And people have already suspected that that person will be serving temporal or serving one term, then he will come back to serve another two-term. Why so? Because of the president, Talon, of Benin, have created an upper chamber called a Senate, sort of a Senate, where the main composition of the chamber would be ex-presidents. Ex-presidents means that from the president he's going into the Senate, guaranteed, not elected. And the constitution dictated that all the former presidents would be going to the Senate. And guess what? Hence he created the Senate. He might be serving as the leader of the Senate. And the powers of the presidency, when the constitution kick in, is technically reduced. You see, he did not need to seek the third term. He just said that he respected the second term. But no, he have already undermined the separation of powers by creating another parliament chamber where he's going to go straight and build a strategic leadership from there. And he still have the option for the person of his choosing, because technically the way he have run the country now is guaranteed that whoever should win elections will be dictated by him, because of he have created a mechanism that would determine who the opposition would be and who would run for election and not. But with the help of France, if Nigeria said that they are the one that led the assault, air assault, they lied. Nigerians are incapable. Nigerians are incapable. If they were capable, the Zambezi forest, rebels would not, the terrorists would not have harbored in the Zambezi forest. About 2 decades ago, about a decade ago, before Buhari came in, when Goodluck Jonathan contracted the South African mercenary company, they defeated the terrorists and sending them off. Guess what? The EU and America put pressure for Jonathan to remove the how to call it, the mercenaries, South African mercenaries, because they were effectively getting the job done. They could have completed the job, because the Nigerian soldiers are not capable because of corruption and ill-equipped. And this is what transpired. It was the French that went in there and fueled the coup, using Nigeria as a cover. As a cover. Let's remember this. France have, when I last knew about, there were 2 to 3 battalions of most of them black soldiers, that they can be in any uniform and they can identify as whatever you call them. The president of Guinea-Conakry, the dictator there now, used to be one of them. They have this foreign legion, where they have every nationality, but mainly made of black people. And when they want to do certain operations, these are the people they will use, because of their life is worthless. But again, so that they can blend in as African soldiers. They saved Benin. It's not because of democratization. Because if they were for democratization, they would have averted the coup happening, making sure the rule of law and the constitutional order was ensured. Now, let's come to near to home, Guinea-Bissau. What is ECOWAS doing with Guinea-Bissau? We all know Embalo Sissoho is still traveling between Bissau and Morocco. We all know that cabinet made of about 4 family members of Embalo, make of friends of Embalo, makes of political allies of Embalo. And the junta itself made of the loyalists of Embalo, whom he had promoted, whom he had put in strategic positions to ensure they can take over the government. ECOWAS knew that the opposition have won that elections. Why did they not put pressure on Bissau? No. They are pretending to put pressure on Bissau. Because Embalo is France candidate as well. Now, what is happening in Bissau? ECOWAS is coming out with a statement to say that let the junta shut in the, how to call it, shut in the the transitional period. The transitional period. Mustafa, so I think you need to check from your end. Are you guys hearing me loud and clear? Mustafa is saying about the volume, but if the others can hear me, then must be Mustafa. Let me continue. This is the situation in Bissau now. They are doing exactly what Embalo wants, and don't be surprised that the transition said that it's certain and election will be elections will be held again. And don't be surprised if Embalo Sissoho becomes a candidate. And ECOWAS won't do anything about it. They won't do nothing about it. Because that's what they're protecting. Because they are locking out. Because if they are locking out the opposition, they don't want to take power. And I can tell you for a fact, France is part of France because of the French society and French government are the most corrupt Europeans you will ever find. The most corrupt, from Mitterrand, Jacques Chirac, everybody else. I mean, they are notorious for corruption. And part of this drug cartel, French business people are part of it, who are supporting, who are financing politics in France. This is what they're doing with our governments. Now, ECOWAS, for ECOWAS to come out here to talk about Yahya Jammeh this or that, fine. That is fine. We are against Yahya, but again, what does that say about us? What does that say about Barrow's administration? I tell you one thing, if we had not come together and brought about the situation we did in 2016, ECOWAS will be nowhere around the Gambia. And I can tell you something else. In fact, as much as I oppose Macky Sall for what he did to his country and his people, if it was not for Macky Sall, ECOWAS have already decided to look the other way or try to accept a power-sharing government in 2016. Macky Sall insisted to Adama Barrow don't sign anything. If either ECOWAS come with us or not. That's why we should not be resting and waiting for the international community, especially ECOWAS. If we want freedom, if we want peace, if we want stability, if we want progress, no international community can do it for us. I am not saying we should not work with the international community, but we should make sure we put our efforts and intentionally put our efforts for good governance to avert any destabilization. There's nobody on earth who can destabilize a country if that country is governed well. Now, let's come to Adama Barrow's position. It's shameful, weak, for Adama Barrow to run to ECOWAS to report Yahya Jammeh, a sovereign nation. Yahya Jammeh is an individual right now. I said so. Yahya Jammeh is an individual right now. He's isolated as much as possible, but let me emphasize, if we create an environment, and I said we, because if we continue to allow Adama Barrow to create an environment, we are the ones creating an environment. That would be an environment that is very appealing for destabilization. We will not blame Yahya Jammeh for taking an opportunity. We know who he is. We know of his intentions. Whose responsibility it is. The government of the Gambia responsibility to make sure those things have been cut off. All those tentacles have been cut off the minute Yahya Jammeh left the country. But Adama Barrow have been quoting, be his security advisors, be in everything, are made of Yahya Jammeh's. Just for his own, not for Gambia. It's a lie. It's not about reconciliation. It's a lie. He neglected our victims. He would never dare visit our victims. The day the SISDG finishes testimony with the TRRC, Adama Barrow as a president went to his home to visit him, felicitate him. For what? Someone who has testified of his wrongdoings, of his incompetence, of his complicity in the dictatorship for that long. Recently, this is his second time going to Senegal to help the Senegalese commemorate what have happened in the massacre done to the African soldiers. But he cannot come and visit our victims that have suffered, and someone who stood against the likes of Dada Haidara today. His anniversary, Adama Barrow would not make a statement. His government would not make a statement. They cannot even give justice to the likes of Dada Haidara and others that have fought and make sure he become a president. The economy he inherited, he took it and make it his own. And today we can see the world with him and his entire family. And the people around him, especially those from the APRC and those that never fought or stood against the APRC. Why should we blame Jammeh? When Jammeh is a criminal, as we know, he's a horrible person, he's evil and everything. We know who he is. What we are talking about, what we should have done with him, what should we have done with him, and that's not about us people taking revenge or anything, but we're asking for justice from a government that assumed to be in a democracy, claimed to be in a democracy, constituted with a parliament, with a justice system, rule of law, and an executive to do the right thing. But because of they are complicit in the crime now, just to sustain Adama Barrow's government. Crying out, saying that the ECOWAS said to Jammeh not to make audio or to maintain the peace and stability of your country. You think you will warn a criminal, oh, don't come and steal in my house? Or you have to deal with him after he did everything he did to your family. You have to let him stay there and not go after him. This is the position we are now. I can tell you, Jammeh knows many ways to destabilize the Gambia. But his ambitions are more than that. Many ways. Any sensible person, especially with a security background, if you want to think of how, especially a former president to destabilize, it's quite easy, especially with the day and age of social media. Especially with this, and if anybody, let people stop saying, oh, Jammeh is broke. He have the means. And if anybody is taking the excuse, he still have loyalty in the army, whose fault is that? Whose fault is that? Even if that's true that he have loyalty in the army, whose fault is that? How many years does he have to fix that? If Barrow believed that he have any opposition member within his government, he would get rid of you. Why did he not get rid of the soldiers that he feel that cannot be loyal to the nation? I'm not saying to him, to the nation. If he believes in that, then that's his failure. We had a TRRC, we have recommendations and everything. But even those serving, still serving, some of them are suspended, still receiving salary. For what reason? We don't need a court of law to take those people out of the services, because they have already broke the service conduct of any services, be the immigration, be the police, be the army, or anyone. They are not fit for purpose to stay there. They are suspended, getting paid. Why are they protecting them? Some of them are still serving. But what amazed me more, and even today I've seen it, Senghor, the guy who was called assassin, the guy who came and confessed at the TRRC of doing such. I can't remember the gruesome admission. Senghor, who is technically a nephew of us from Bakau. The gruesome. We never thought, until he confessed, that he was capable of doing that. Who was serving the army and then later to the drug law enforcement. Who went with orders to the mile to torture people. Some of God knows how much he have. And let me tell you one thing. All these tortures, what they admitted to is what we know. They might have committed orders we do not know. Not only that, this guy, after this testimony, either he was suspended or he was sacked. Just for a few days ago, for Watson Gambia to report, and the only way Watson Gambia knew about it, that this guy was reinstated at the drug squad. The same place he was doing this damage. You cannot just believe these things until you see the evidence. But nowadays, it's easy to believe. Because we have seen Saul Baggy walking the streets of the Gambia. And in fact, being a good friend with people around. Yeah, he's already a friend of people around Barrow. We've seen the junglers everywhere walking around. But to say that even reinstated. And the only reason they know about it, because of he did his usual, went and arrested someone with drugs and asked for a bribe, and show you how stupid he is, and that bribe being, part of that bribe being sent into his Wave account, and that drug trafficker or whoever is went to the police and reported. That's the only reason we knew about him still serving. And guess what? He's still not sacked. Apparently he's suspended. What do you have to commit to get sacked? To be an opposition, to be an activist, but not to be a criminal, not to be horrible, not to have committed crime with Yahya Jammeh and for Yahya Jammeh. That's not an offense in Barrow's scheme of things. The guy is suspended. As if what human resource procedures they have. What does the person have to do to get sacked? Is that not gross misconduct? I cannot even call that gross misconduct. That's more than gross misconduct. That person should have been in prison by now. Probably he's walking the streets. Probably they know something we don't know on people who are responsible for them to be dealt with. In a nutshell, for Gambians to understand, this is where Barrow is keeping us. If Barrow feels unsafe because of Jammeh, and he still cannot do the things that he has powers to do, put a red alert on Jammeh. Put him as wanted. You can charge him. It's a lie. Put put him. Just for the sake of it, just put him that is wanted. You bring him in, don't even go for the crime scene. Let him be a national security risk and deal with that. No. Go for his wealth. Wealth. Some of it in Amadou Samba's hands. He will not go for that because of Badot knows the deal he did with Amadou Samba. Because knowing that having to go for Jammeh's wealth, you have to go for Amadou Samba. He cannot do it because of the wealth, what they have shared coming from Jammeh's account in Hong Kong. We talked about that before. In Hong Kong, he knows when during the impasse, Barrow came in as a criminal. The wealth of Jammeh. I am not talking about those under the influence of Zainab Jammeh. The reason Zainab did not legally divorce Jammeh, for a reason. If he legally divorced Jammeh, there's things that he holds that Jammeh would have access to. It is better off staying in Morocco, doing what he does around, having his life, and wherever there's a need for something to be signed for or something to be done, he'll come and spend 2 days with Jammeh and fly out again. This is the reason he's not divorced. Be in the Virgin Islands or the Caribbean and stuff like that, Jammeh's accounts are running. Nobody frees them unless he decides to move them. Jammeh in his possession, it's not allegedly. When he left the Gambia, in his possession, the millions of dollars he's left with, that cannot be consumed, that cannot be spent that fast. Not talking about gold, diamond, and other antiquities he took with him. In other countries, in Africa, Guinea-Conakry and others, Senegal still, Jammeh runs wealth in many ways. In the Gambia itself, we know people that run them. Fabaka Tomok have come out and said it, that they know some people did not want them to reconcile with Jammeh because they don't want Jammeh to come back because of they are benefiting from assets Jammeh left behind. This is what the Speaker of the House said at a political gathering in Banjul. Fatoumata Jahumba Sisi alleged that Fatim that the former Fatim Singate, lawyer Singate's mom, is running some of the assets. Probably it's true. But we know lawyers who are traveling. And Barrow said that he too know people going to Equatorial Guinea coming back, saying Jammeh. Yeah, there are lawyers traveling to Jammeh coming back. Why do you think they're traveling to him for his legal defense? No. Why all these things not cut off? If you want to get someone like Jammeh, you start with the funding. But you don't go to ECOWAS to say that ECOWAS said that not to send audios, not this, not that. This is where we need to think. This is where the opposition need to come out and hold Barrow accountable, not to be trying to get the vote of the so-called, I don't know, why they think that they can get vote of APRC that supports this. Because of they are not critics, they are not talking about the interest of the nation, our security towards them. Let's move on. As I said, I want to do this quick. There's a program going to start soon on AG radios, and I don't want to class with it. We move on to, and this is like an update. We remembered a week ago, I reported, and I actually did an analysis of it and reported it, and we published it on Open Gambia. The conflict between Barrow and Moduke Sise, the former Chief of Staff, Presidential Advisor. Let me just give a recap on that background for people that have not followed. When we reported that, the next day, Moses was transferred or posted to the trade ministry, and his former deputy assumed his position. Okay, Mordecai Sise was the chief of staff present at this thing. That position was created for him, and I'll get into the reason why it was created. After the 2021 elections, he assumed that position, and he became the most powerful person within the corridors of power. You have to go through him. He's the gatekeeper. Barrow trusted him, his opinions and everything, because of what he does for Barrow, not what he does for the state. And the issue going through the courts now, some of us have read the testimony yesterday of the, I don't call him former, of the Auditor General, Mordecai Sise. They have a good relationship. Mordecai Sise, they are not related. They come from the same area. They have a good relation, good friends. Now, when Barrow and his government squandered our wealth, and the Auditor General did what he's supposed to do, and trying to release the audits, Barrow doesn't want it to be released. And the Auditor General, Mordecai Sise, was invited. And Mordecai Sise said, no, that doesn't go that like that, sir. We should. Now, they came up with a plan. How to handle this. How to handle it. When they know that he will not yield, it was Mordecai Sise who laid out the plan to say to Barrow, or what we can do, because we all know that that position is protected. Barrow cannot sack Mordecai Sise, the Auditor General, or any Auditor General for that matter, without going through certain processes. And that processes will be supported by evidence, incapacity, or all the stuff, corruption, or all that stuff, and that have to go through a panel and to be determined. Barrow doesn't want to do that. Now, Mordecai Sise was the person who advised Barrow on how to deal with it. Because there's already a vacancy at defense, there's no vacancy at the trade ministry. He said, oh, let's move the trade minister, regardless of the unsuitability of the trade minister to become a defense minister. They just wanted to make their arrangements right. It was going to be temporal. 3 months. He said, oh, in 3 months, let's move the trade minister to defense. They didn't want him to go there. What, for 3 months? I mean, just temporarily they do their plan. And let's promote Mordecai Sise, appoint him trade minister for 3 months. Then we will remove him from there and send him to the international community. And don't be surprised if there's another cabinet reshufflement soon. And I might get into a bit of it. You know, the Gambian president of ECOWAS, Toure, that just left, might be coming in cabinet. Might be coming in cabinet. As foreign affairs, probably. Then foreign affairs, the person at foreign affairs, Njai, will return back to his position, defense. And the defense minister now, Juve, is it Juve? Would go to trade, and Mordecai Sise might go to the internal community. I'm saying it, let it even not happen. We are doing accountability. We are not waiting for Barrow. I mean, if he wants not to do it, let him not do it, but we know this is what they plan. What they planned originally for Mordecai Sise, now that's what is going to happen to Mordecai Sise, according to what they laid out. Now, when Mordecai Sise, Chief of Staff, made this recommendation that put him, appoint him as trade minister for 3 months, send him into, and they were looking at Senegal or Freetown. This is how detailed it was. Then you can keep him cold there till after the elections. You remove him. Then we can appoint Chernobyl, yeah, in his place, and Cherno will do our job for us. This was the plan. And now everything backfired. Then Barrow became really angry. Now, let's give you the update. That anger from Barrow, that was just the straw that brought this coming back. There were already existing differences between Barrow and Modou Kessie. And it's all to do with corruption. All to do with corruption. Now, let's come to it. Before the 2021 elections, Modou Kessie was the permanent secretary at Works, Infrastructure. Bailamin Job was the minister. Modou Kessie ensured, and in fact, did this by going to the president, Barrow, telling him that Bailamin Job is getting far more than you in the deals going on with the contracts, because of Bailamin is getting, in many ways, giving contracts to his own family members and connected people, and you cannot see what he gets out of it. That's Modou Kessie that told that to the president, and in fact technically got authority from the president so that he can access. It was getting close to elections. Barrow did not want to get rid of Bailamin Job at that time. Then he assumed as permanent secretary taking kickbacks or going for seek for kickbacks for President Barrow and the wife. They are of the same. This is where he won the confidence of Barrow. And after the elections, Barrow thought the best position for this guy, as good he has been to me by helping to loot, I should make him the gatekeeper, be the chief of staff. Is the position then get created, chief of staff, presidential affairs, then redundant and made how to call it, civil service, head of the civil service, how to call it, secretary general, made the secretary general position redundant technically. Now this guy become powerful. After, when he went there, any deal that is to happen, it had to go Modou Kessie. The Russian form. Remember the Russian form? Modou Kessie, first lady, and then that's how all the ministers that took part, the IG and any other government agency that enforces Pura and others were all put into this cabal to ensure at Gam Petroleum and all that for the deal to go on. They got their kickbacks. This is why the recommendations and the investigation could not be conclusive, and in fact, nothing came out of it. That's just one. I'm just pointing one. The Al Barak, the port deal. The port deal. It was Modou Kessie with the first lady, again, through the first lady, they went to Modou Kessie. Whoever wants things done, you go to the chief of staff. The port, I'm coming to why they fought against this. The port deal. Until recently, Barrow knew about certain things when they started their infighting. Jobate of ports went and signaled to Barrow, actually, some of these things you're saying, Modou Kessie even got more than us. More than us. Just as it went on, Ibrahim Silla became really enraged because of the way Modou Kessie was undermining him from being the chief of staff in the making, so or technically running or dictating them, because of he comes and tell you, Barrow, this is what Barrow wants they doing. This is why he was appointed on the port deal and the kickbacks, taking the kickbacks and everything for the first lady and Barrow. Unknowing, and he was getting his share more than what Barrow anticipated. Barrow knows that he'll get something, but Barrow never anticipated this much. The airline, not the airline, how do you call it? Nero, the air services contract, Nero coming into being, because Nero is technically owned by the Vice President, Mohamed Diallo, Boy, Minister of Civil Affairs, Boy, former Trade Minister, now Defense Minister, Diouf. We call them the Education Cabal. They were all at the Education Ministry. And they took Cham, who was at the procurement at the Education Ministry, to be the CEO. And they got even Fatou Lamin Faye, who was at the Education Ministry as Education Minister in Jammeh. The entire cabal that's where there. But no KCC. In fact, the presidential directives that goes into cabinet, giving protection to Nero, even against the state on GIA, was run by Modu KCC. Look, I can go on and go on many others. But to the point that Modu KCC's, mansion he built within 6 months, it's alleged that they took that picture to show it to Barrow and the First Lady, that it was built by Areski, the Lebanese construction company that did the OIC road. This is all before the case of the Auditor General, Modu Cisse, came up. And Modu Cisse was at the fringe. And Barrow did not know how to handle him. And when he did this blunder of managing the situation, and technically it blew up in their face, Barrow cannot keep it anymore. He was sidelined. For months, the deputy who is appointed now, Sonem Lum, was running the position. And now he's sent to the Trade Ministry, and from the Trade, they are planning to move him out to the Foreign Service, and they might not do it. Just as when I reported about him being moved to Trade, I said they might not do it because the people will say to, oh, if you say it now, Barrow might not do it. I don't care Barrow doing it or not. We know that he has the intention, we say it. And no understanding to it was so much of hindrance to Barrow. Barrow will not want that to stay within him. If we stop Barrow from doing something, then Barrow too will be traumatized that we have the power to stop him doing something. Regardless, whoever he brought in, you will not do what is required of you. If you do what is required of you, Barrow would make sure you are out. Then there's no point saying, oh, let's wait. Wait for what? We are doing this so that the public would understand. That's what we are here for. To inform the public, to understand how this government runs. For what? The outcome we're looking for is for the public to be informed and make an informed decision. To make sure the next government we elect are fit for purpose. Let's move on to the second one. This is another internal. Just a minute. The National Security Advisor, Abuja. Barrow is exploring. It's in the making. It's in the making. To remove the National Security Advisor. He have not decided where to, but he's adamant that he needs to go. Why? Barrow have already, agreed on the incompetency of the National Security Advisor. He agreed that the guy is completely incompetent. He's just useless. And this is not me saying. I believe that. We said that before. He doesn't have what it takes. He have never run anything. He was a glorified clerk in the police, and he continued to be a glorified clerk, so-called United Nations appointment, because people don't even understand the United Nations, how it runs. He's very good at writing letters. He's very good at taking instructions and putting them in writing. But he doesn't have the thinking capacity, especially expertise. Need to understand national security, how it runs and how it operates, and how to get someone else advice on it. No, he doesn't have that. How did he get the job? The SISDG. The SISDG and some behind the scenes politics of influence pushing it to Barrow. I don't want to go there because it might touch on family ties and so on. But it's the influence of SISDG recommendations and that influence, but again, with a political dissing from wherever he comes from. This is how he got the job. We knew he doesn't have what it takes to run it. Now, what did Barrow find out? Now Barrow is looking at a shortlist, and there's lobbying going. Because I know, because other people know. I don't just imagine this, or I'm not, value or anything to see things. No. This is the internal thing. There's one person prominent within the Bureau, within the National Security Bureau, who is really strong on the shortlist. If it was today that Barrow takes the decision, as it is now, that person is likely to be made National Security Advisor, and people believe that he has the competency to do that, to run that place. But as I said, there's a resistance. The SISDE is still trying to cover up lobbying, and the lobbying is going on, and Barrow, as you know, is indecisive. He's pondering on this, but we'll get the update. I was expecting an update today, where the decisions have been taken. But the reason behind the loss of confidence from Barrow emanates from the case of Ousainou Bojang. The Ousainou Bojang, who is alleged to have killed the cops, and what happened on the surrounding. Barrow is blaming the National Security Advisor. And you see, to be fair to Barrow, for the position of National Security Advisor, it's technically the last call point to advise the President on national security and what to do, what not to do. But if the SISDG, who technically, if SISDG appoints a national security, what happens? Because the National Security Advisor here is kind of the last call point here. Before we have a National Security Advisor, it was SISDG, the ears of the President. But now the President have this setup. Remember, it's not an individual, it's an institution. The National Security Advice Bureau is an institution. Now the head there have the last point to advise the President. The National SISDG have the last point to advise the President on intelligence. But this guy would have access to that intelligence that this SISDG have to work on it. To advise. Now, the President is blaming him for the mishandling of this case, because now they have realized. I cannot see, and nobody who have followed this case can see any way that Ousainou Bojang can be held liable to that horrible crime. For some of us, we don't even have to wait for the court case. We call it the first day. The minute we looked at the profile of Ousainou, The minute we listened to what was coming from the government, we said, no, 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 no. This is a joke. The person that committed this crime is actually an expert, someone who's very good at what he does. And when we look at the saying, he doesn't fit the profile. We didn't know who it was, but we narrowed it down either, yes, a government butt job or organized crime. This is what we said. But as the evidence came to the court, it's looking like more as a government butt job. Well, we have discussed that before, probably we'll discuss it when the verdict comes out. But now, for them, it's a mishandling and it's a disaster waiting to happen when the verdict comes. I'm not saying if. When the verdict comes out that Hussein is not the culprit, then who is? Remember, the president gave out $1 million. The president has to explain or be in a funny position. Remember, the president's family is technically kind of mentioned in a sense in a complicit way because of the role Mama Jabi fabricated witness and the role played and in fact the testimony of what the role the family of the president played. 2. 3. The government itself came out with strong statements talking about terrorism, talking about blaming, trying to frame other parties, political parties. This is what it came out through the testimony. Now the president is worried. Now he's blaming the National Security Advisor, Abu Jammeh. What is he going to do now? Would he take advice, throw Abu Jammeh under the bus, close to verdict, when verdict is going to come out, throw him out there? Probably that's what they're waiting, so that people would look at Abu to say, oh yeah, these are the people that misled the president, these are the people that mishandled it. It's entirely a political action. Yes, he's incompetent and everything, but this is what they do. This is what they want to do it for. Now, this is the situation that's arising within government. Now, it's for people to understand what we have in place. It's not a government. Entirely, whatever we talk about here is not the government attempting to do any good and it failed. It's about the government intending to do bad and it's getting worse. It's about the government doing stuff for what benefits them, not what benefits the people. For instance, that's where I'm coming next. This government still did not have a program of development. The program of development they have is politicization and invoice inflation, corruption. Road networks doesn't make sense. Let's build roads. Let's build roads where we can win vote. Let's go Kiang. Let's go Jara. Let's go let's build roads. We'll get this. But not only build roads that we'll have votes. Let's build roads. We can inflate the invoices. We have seen it. Wait until you see the audit report for the OIC. If they let it out. It might not come out now. It might not come out now till after elections now. But it's ready. It should have come out. And other reports. They have not. You cannot point to one area. You say, oh, they have done this thing about industrialization. They have done this for value chain. Let me give you an example. I bought cashew yesterday, costing me God knows. I remember there's a Gambian guy who from the diaspora that came back to Gambia, and somewhere in Combo he have a factory, because I saw the video with Babakar Sadiq of UDP, Babakar Sadiq Jammeh, and with this young guy that had sort of a factory that processing cashew nuts and oils. Wonderful. But you have not heard what the government is doing to empower these people. I have seen many young Gambians in agriculture now, in others, but you don't hear programs that empower these people. Instead, if they go into agriculture, they are all designed by international. And international, they don't design something to be sustainable. They just want to keep you as a customer. And none of them work. Roots program, this program, this program. Look, we remember programs since there were days. Agriculture used to have more projects than any other area. Different agronomes. You can see this West Africa Rice Development Association, WADA. Different. We never achieved nothing because the design is at the beginning and nothing like sustainability. When Senegal, without international, they came out with a program. They appointed people who have the know-how. The best ministers they have is the agriculture minister, who's an agriculturalist, who is a World Bank specialist, who knows about funding. Mambuba J or something, Jen or something. He is transforming. He himself is a farmer. Transforming. He left an executive position, lucrative, to come and serve. It's not the so-called Gambians who lie about people like Batambi or I sacrifice. It's a lie. The project's finished. He was going out. As so many of them, their project finished, they're going out. That's the time they come to Gambia to serve. At their heyday, or when they have position, they don't leave that. It's a lie. Count me one, I'll tell you he's a liar, and I'll prove it. Just like Batambi. But the guy does the industrial minister. I forgot his name. He's even opposition. He's a mayor somewhere. They are taking agriculture and industry and working together. Now, for a short period, 2 years, not even 2 years, about 2 years, rice, to the extent of the prices going down. Not only that, they are reducing, they are putting conditions for rice traders to adopt the homegrown rice and the importation to mix the balance, and gradually they will take over and they will not need any importation. Onion, potato, carrot, for God knows when they have not imported it. With all the margals, the Gamo coming, they don't import, and prices are going down. Banana, for 6 months embargo, no banana will be imported. All the banana consumed in Senegal is from farmers. And the price is going up for the farmers, making other people. These are the people you think about. How do you have a program? None. We have an imbecile, I'll call him, Demba Saban, as agriculture minister. It's in the history of Gambia. I did not say this. Dr. Gadigo, an agriculture economist, have looked at the data to say that Jammeh time produced more rice and others than Barrow. But Jawara time produced more rice and others, including the time of Jammeh and Barrow. It's only the Gambia we have that. We are just going worse. Let's look at it. Housing. Not a single unit housing. Not social security, not any government initiative. Remember the lie that Ahmad Ba told us? And we told you that it was a lie. How many? He said 100,000 housing. I can't remember the number, but it was that ridiculous number. Housing, remember that? And he said that they're going to build 10,000 before December. This is the 2nd December. Not a single housing. Not even a land have been identified. Not even a land have been identified. And Ahmad Bat said they will have 100,000 housing. We said it's a lie. And before December, he said 10,000 houses will be built. The only houses built are those that people who are at the top of, not even middle class, can afford. But not housing for Gambians. Not for teachers, not for nurses, not for soldiers, not for police officers, not for the civil servant. It's a lie. They don't have a program. They don't know how to draw a program. Remember the jobs. 2,500 jobs. I don't know what number. This government cannot point directly to say, here we have created these jobs. Now it's about soldiers, police officers, immigration officers. This is what they are employing. The youths which have potential, the youths could have been anything. They don't have that environment, they don't have that support. We build a university, we build colleges, and whatever it is, they are not equipped for the young people to meet their potential. We have young people who are so brilliant, probably in science, they're going to do what? Development management, because that's what is available for them. Others cannot support themselves to do the other stuff. They drop out, and imagine the millions or billions now. We don't talk about millions in Gambia anymore. It's billions been taken away from us. That's it. What did they do? Send the youths to Spain. And they are surprised that those youths don't come back. What are they coming back for? What are they coming back to? Thank God they have avoided the back way. And they got to Spain. You expect those boys to go back or girls to go back? You're kidding me. It's not a program. The worst one, send them to Saudi Arabia. And we have seen, we told you don't do it. Because guess what happened? Technically, the entire group get maltreated, and even to return them home, the government was not there to do it. This is what we have. Then it should be easy for the opposition to organize themselves and give hope and act as an alternative and get us out of this. This government is not capable. Let's move on to the last bit. This is just would prove everything that we've been saying the last minute here. The cement. The cement. How many times did we come out here? I remember blowing the whistle before the police even came out. And how did that happen? I still remember. I was not very active. I was so busy doing other stuff, or very lazy even to come on live. It takes motivation to come on live, I can tell. And the sad part of the motivation is really being enraged, and I just have to come and say something. That's the sort of motivation comes out from us coming out. And this particular young man who lives in Sweden and explained to me, he doesn't even know who I was. It was someone else in the Gambia, someone in position said to him, go and approach these people, especially if you can speak to Ben Swire to talk about this. Probably the government might change their decision to preempt it. I didn't have a clue what the cement industry was. I had to learn quickly and pick up and take the points he said and do a quick research in order to advocate for it. He said to me, what really pushed me was, the guy was technically in tears. He said, all our investments.
Awogot, linga wani moy dega. Ni ci bari ci ñom kaw gi la. Mam ya da finance pajas ñi di ñew bañ di jëndal jam jere jef ko
tay spon yombalen. Ak madness yombalen.
Pajas ya.
Wala ko bro dega nga wax de. Why dafa sad nak, you know?
No, dafa daw yaram. Nga lu tax dafa daw yaram.
Bilaay.
Ñun buñ doon mag di gis ñeena ci ñoom xam nañ ne dañ cee gis benn papa ay 10 nit a nekk ci kiram. Mu ngi yóbbu ñëpp school, mu ngi jox jabar bi dépasse te du complain te léegi-léegi sax daf ko indil weccit. Jamana tan back in the days. Ñun duñ daan bari lu ñoo man suma maasi mango lay aji ji flux uti ji buy ñoo jaay ko jaaykat yi ay si buy yi duma daan sonal suma yaay si lunch dama daan am suma xaalis si boppa
mane mile tu ñun dañ daanu be fanaan si lifin bi ñaanukaay bi
ñu dem fële naka
ma la wax yaa ma fàttalil ba ma suma waaji madam ñu dem aji ji buy fu Senghor Fuutiyu Taal ne jaar mooy fu Senghor Fuutiyu jaar te soldat yi di fa dee nekk saaro booy dañ dem booy ma daanoo si buy bi dama nelaw foofu ba bor set
waaye gis nga femmes
soldat yi fa dee ñëw ma
gis nga femmes yaa ngi fàttaliku ñun buñ dëkkaan am na ñun ñu settlement bi Serekunda léegi duñ daan jógee school Fridays dañ daan jog nag utaale buy si yoon bi xam nga léegi nga bañ xetax bi toppala da nga toog si bij bi raxas buy bañ rafet so ñun xam nañ ne Friday di nga gis ne femmes criminalité bi xewoon Gambia that time di woon criminalité xam nga lan la woon dëgër boppa ba pare ñaa yële looloo tax yéen foo leen duga rek mun faa génn ak Abdou Koor mi moo tax ma ne leen yéen ay kaña ngeen da ngeen bëri pax waaye gis nga femmes li nga wax ni fekkee gis nga réew doo ko développe gis nga fi Jawara emoon continuer fa si lu baax fi Yahya Jammeh emoon si lu baax juma mubarak continuer ko si lu baax waaye yow ñaar ñi ñëpp gën laa dëgër gën laa jànga yow nga ñëw am sa crew of intellectual technocrat lu ma leen mën a ooyee xam nga li ma dee jaaxal this is dangerous boy this is dangerous
ñun dañ am Yahya Jammeh bot Yahya si place boobu la improve boppam Jammeh
intellectually
balal ma Aliou Cissé tëjal maay bi rek balal ñu sa wax bi yëpp a ngee ñëwee ni please
waa intellectually spiritually muy dëgg
Jammeh la ko bañ bi mu ñëwee dafa upgrade boppam Barrow bu mu ñëwee na upgrade na boppam at the first place man bi ma déggee ñu laaj ko on the first mu ne on the one si la suma fit bi dem on the fourth mu oyee ko on the one ma ne leen non Gambia ne daf leen dagg
waaw mu ngi laa woon ne foofu moom moo gënoon na mu ngi laa woon ne smart guy mi si mathematics si school non déedéet mu ngi laa woon ne dégg
why correct na nag only one oneness bi la bëggoon a wax rek only oneness bi mooy suma sound bi togetherness only one la
only one correct na waaye bii tam bii correct na
déedéet Abdou na dafa am loo xam ne intellectual words la I mean am certain language yoo xam ne intellectual languages la am yoo xam ne ñun suñ bos la bàyyi rek bu ko fi rafetal
non déedéet
boy déedéet non bàyyi
yow lay dimbale
non man dimbale yow waa ji ngay dimbale man dimbalewuloo
maa ngi ñëw maa ngi nice waxuma affaire yi célibataire
non si Gambian living
non xam nga dafa am ndoo bu fi nekk boy dafa am ndoo déglu ma dafa am koo xam ne du ma ne la wàccee ko rek wàccee ko
waaw dëgg la
waaw te buñ waaw léegi ñu bëre
xaaral ma stand by rek xam naa ne
waaw
oncle fii ala boobu nag man tamit dama si bokk oncle
parce que man li ma wax la
non gis nga
dama ne saa
old boy femmes xam nga biñ fi nekkee maa yow rek a fi nekkoon
waaw léegi gars yi ñëw neen
te liñ doon waxtaan
nga sa jarbaat yi den na dee toppatami oncle
non xaaral
femmes yow dafa am loo understand de yéenay maire yi nag su maire la ñu bàyyi ñun ñu waaja parce que sët yi dañ ñëw ñu ngi bambaane xale doomi génn ne ñu ngi bàyyi
non nag te nag xaaral ma wax la nag yow li nga understandul xam nga yaa ma dee lijjanti maa ngi nekk si benn hôtel bu nice nag tey bu ko dama daw weekend bi dama daw
bi nga ñaan ma ñoo joko but suñu kala gaaw ne say dafa daw si tamit
ma ne fina jee nag oncle la di ayo tamit
ma ne yéen dama déggoon ne da ngeen doon def lëmbal kilifa yu am ni yéen ngeenay lëmbal
non tey si guddi sax tey si guddi tey prices la
astafurlah
ñoom day métti ne ñu ne lu wax na
tey
ñu ne dañoo lëmbal te gars yi dañ si teg xaalis sax ak ay parfum lu nekk
waaw
te góor ñi seetal gis nga li ma la wax ni gis nga góor yi africain yi niñ dee def jigéen ñi instead of ñoom ñu lëmbalal jigéen ñi ñoom dañ war a toog jigéen ñi di leen lëmbalal xam nga
Aliou Cissé tamit mu ngi fi CEO Hadi Touré jërëjëf yes Aliou mun nga on mic bi ñu dugat ci waxtaani because li mel nii dafa daw yaram anda tey Gambia da ngaa gis ne youth man mu ngi am jabaram waaye mu ngi xelaat sax jabar bi su biiree fan la moo wasini je because place bii ngeen gis ni lopitaan la te ñi ay jigéen leen ñenn ñaa ngi lal si ay basang ñenn ñaa ngi lal tet malaani Aliou Cissé na nga def
salaamaaleykum gëm noo def naka ba yaa ngi si jàmm
waaw sant alhamdulilah
maa ngi laa nuyu di nuyu gars yi nekk si live bi yëpp
mu ngi laa fay lu bari
di kontaan bu baax xam nga lu tax because dama bëgg time bu nekk wala bis bu nekk ñu génnee loo xam ne daal loo xam ne mu ngi happen si Gambie te loo xam ne correct ñu ko génnee si média bi ñëpp di ko gis di si comment si man boobu yaakaar naa ne su nekkee ne ñoom ruskat am nañ rusukaay laa wax de dañ ci système bu ñoo doxalee because man dama foog ne wax dëgg yàlla am na si loo xam ne damay toog benn jamono damay foog ne lii moom théâtre la moo nekk wala réel la wala waaye sometime daal du ma understand nag xaw ma nag ñun lan lañ war a def man loolu léegi-léegi dama foog ne Gambien si boppam war nañ ko laaj seen bopp lan lañ war a def ñun man dama gis mooy ñun ñu ngi fi naan fii Yahya Jammeh fii Baro fii kelefele waaye man est-ce que ñun ñooñu noonu ñun jàpp ne ñoo wos nii est-ce que am nañ ñu leen fi war a mën a def lu tane luñ def man loolu laa gisul fu mu nekk nii moo tax man ma jaaxle man because fu mu nekk nii gisuma benn leaders boo xam ne nii yaakaar naa ne rek war nañ la mën a jox Gambie nga contrôle ko fu mu nekk nii gisuma ko last two months dem naa Gambie waaye su ma fa delluwaatee gis nga li ngay génnee nii dinaa ko génne indi jox la ko nga pile ko Gambie yëpp gis ko naa la indi lu gën a rof li ngay pile because gis naa ko xam nga
waaw
xaw ma nag man nag dama foog ne fu mu nekk nii dama foog ne ñun dañu war a dem ñaan yàlla o lu ñu war a def daal wax dëgg yàlla xaw ma ko waaye daal Gambie moom guddiñ toll nii su doon lafañ ma xam ne nii moom deseetu tànk bu mu taxawee because dara doxul te lii nii war na mën a ñàkk suñ demee ba wét gi yaram bi fu mu nekk bu nit jaaxale woon foo dem faj yi ñoo dem def ay lal yu bëri yi man lii gis naa ko depuis bëccëg waaye xamoon lan la dama foogoon ne sax lii maanaam comme boo yu doon dem si baag wi bi la yóyu na waaye man mosuma
man mii sax first day ma gis li baral ma Aliou first day ma gis li dama foog ne gars yi nekk ak bitim réew la ñu dee fanaan si ron tunnel yi homeless yi
exactly man loolu laa foog
ma dégg kuy wax ne lii Gambia si lopitaan bi ma ne waat
man moo tax lii bu ma ko gisee nii sax du ma si bàyyi xel dama koy gis sax ma romb ko jàll parce que man understand ma loolu rek laa ko jàpp wax dëgg yàlla waaye lii dafa saat so man nag xawma lu ñu war a def nag wax dëgg yàlla fu mu nekk lan la ñu war a def mooy bueno because léegi tam dañuy foog na njiit dañ ko mën a am waaye du gaaw because problème bi mooy njiit yu ñoo am tam leader si ñoo am tam si kër yi la ñoo jógee kër yi tam problème bi su kër yi baaxut tam pour nguur bi ñëw correct tam du yomb because noos mi bëri na ci dëkk bi te ñu ñàkk ñu bëri ci dëkk bi loolu man lu laa mën a xam dëkk boo xam ne
li war a def ñoom wana nañu jël Marisop teg ko fa
waaw non Marisop xamoon na c'est que pero la ma xam mooy ay nguur bi soo demee si côté nguur bi dañoo noos ba nga foog ne fii moom boo ñëwoon Europe sax doo gis moto yi ñoo dawal waaye soo demee si kër yi pauvre yi ñu bëri ñu ñàkk ñi da nga naan fii moom kay fii kenn lekkatu fi kenn naanatu fi te soo ko bëggee wax ñu taxaw na la lu tax nga wax lii yow da ngaa contre dëkk bi fii wala yow dëkk bi teelul la non man li ma gëm mooy sa dëkk soo ko bëggee da ngay gis da ngay bul xool lu rafet nga koy wane xoolal lu ñaaw nga koy wane bu ko defee ñu war a rafetal indi lu rafet waaye su nekkee ne yow da ngay dem Banjul rek wala nga dem feneen Sénégal bi wootee ba génnee fa benn action bu rafet ñëw ne waa Gambie ñu ngi defoon non man d'accorduma loolu because of tey Gambie fu ne ni soo xoolee tey soo fekkee ne 100% na 99% yëpp ñu 85% yëpp ñu ngi souffrir ñu ngi sonn léegi nag 15% yu nekk di noos est-ce que loolu am na njëriñ loolu amul njëriñ because tey soo nekkee Europe bi fii ñëpp amuñu waaye pour la meeno tey fu mu nekkee ni tey man nga compter naka la 85% wala 90% yoo xam ne kenn amul problème amuñ xaalis nag boo xam ne ni mën nañ koo sànni si mbedd bi di ko battre waaye sonnuñu.
ñu déglu Baro tuuti mu ne foog naa Jammeh la moo advice baala leen ma rek tuuti Baro mer na de Baro Jammeh ana nga sax ma ut la njëkka ma tayagum la gaay Jammeh Baro mer na de déglu leen Baro mer na.
There will be consequences. This is the resolution. I think it is loud and clear that we have to make sure that we all play by the rules. ECOWAS will not accept that. So there is a warning against President Jammeh to stop making videos and trying to disturb the peace and stability of this country. If he continue doing that, there will be consequences. This is the resolution. I think it is loud and clear that we have to make sure that we all play by the rules. ECOWAS will not accept that. So there is.
Baro mu ne ECOWAS don't accept li su Jammeh stop di even ay audio.
Munna wa ha munna wa. Billahi wallahi. Baro day
sacha na fiti.
Bala ma rek billahi wallahi tallahi.
Moy babu
Baro di mo mi ngi yaga Gambia moy gëna dangerous ki Yahya Jammeh.
Billah du ndaga.
Bare déglu bu baax. Xam nga léegi dama la dee wax mu dem ba ay couple of months nga ne ma Englishman waxoon na ma lii. Bari naa caaxaan na dama la dee wax waaye léegi dama dee wax pare ma wax la. Nga déglu mari sok rek mënut a jógloo Baro déglu lu ma laa wax de.
Jamal.
Ama soobee yaa rek mënut a jógloo Baro. Mama Kandeh rek mënut a jógloo Baro. UDP rek mënut a jógloo Baro. Tay rek mënut a jógloo Baro xam nga lu xew. Right now moo leen ëppa asset. fu ko billahi wallahi talaay li ma wax su dee doole la.
Yéen xam nga yaa ngi wax ambulance wax nga fire brigade.
It's all
yéen ñaar yëpp yow Ibrahima yëpp yéen ñaar yëpp yéen a yow benn.
I know
man su ma soxlee ambulance dama call ambulance yi ne man ndax am nga njëgi essence.
Exactly.
Bilaa wala talaay.
Lu am la.
Waaw.
Essence.
Lu am la English.
Li ngay jël si patient bi ndax am nga essence pare nga pour isi essence da nga call police ne xeex mi ngi am fii dama ñëw soo leen ñëwut dama ree kii ñu ne waa ñi ngee ñëw ñu jël taxi su ñëwee yaa fay taxi bi.
Waaw you are right. Lu am la. C'est réel.
Lu war a xeex la. Ma ñàkk suma day billahi duma fen ak ajuma yàlla si.
Lu am la.
Moo tax Gambia xanaa xamuloo ne Gambia ndoo yi xam nga ñan lañ ragal. Su fekkee ne ami nga foog ne ndooy rek leen ragal ndooy ragaluñ ami ragaluñ para ndooy ñii lañ ragal naka la tudda naka la ne police investigation living with tudda ñii
PIU
anti-crime ñoom ñooy malayka yi foofu ndooy ragaluñ kenn ku dul anti-crime Baro su taxawoon ak ay waxuma la M16 ni kii bii nag ni ko dee ooyee yu jamono Chuck Norris yi su ko neexee mu taxawa yooyu sax ndooy ragaluñ ko anti-crime nañ romba rek nga xool ndooy nu ñoo mel.
Health sector bi rek mooy problème suñu amoon système boo xam ne is just going like it's supposed to go doo toog di war a yaakaar taxi muy daan drive bi la yóbbu ci lopitaan or any other sort of those kind of things necessary wul xam nga why because the system is not functioning that's the problem xam nga ay ambulance yu paan ak naka ngaa toogee ba ambulance paan ngay ko door a jaga how you take them to maintenance xam ba xam ne lii dafa saaf community bi xam nga waaye da ngaa dem ba ci lopitaan ñu ambulance yu war a jógee foofu pour drive yóbbu la ci beneen hospital sa c'est problème.
waa arama waxal la nag the most started story gis nga docteur Sala clinique xam nga am na yoon buy dem si bij bi soo foofu benn ambulance moo fa taxawoon taati ambulance baa ngi si mbedd mi boppi ambulance baa ngi si biir clinique bi Fams barke Nabil Mustafa
rawal
docteur Sala ak xaalis bi mu liggéey yooyu yëpp si clinique boobu noonu te ambulance boobu ambulance si Sweden la man maa ko gis mu bàyyi ba loolu du yaaxu te ku dem sax dañ ko donate from Sweden
dëgga
amal li ma ni farms suñ gaañi ñoo bon ñi nga xam ne ñoo waroon a téye si bagage yi ok government la ñoo blame we have to blame the government
waaw mooy rasul bi
waaw because ñoom ñooy bëtti bagage yi soo gisee government bi doxul rek naka la yow docteur Sall moo kooku boy lim liggéey si xaalis da nga xam ñaata la ñun moom moo amee suñ insurance du ñëwee Gambia as Swedish citizens and all this waaw
bro du moom kenn rek ñi ko
non maa ngi laa woon ne dama laa woon ne femme li ma la bëgg a woon mooy li ma la bëgg a woon ne ñi nga xam ne ñoo amee hospital xam nga am na nu gars yi doon work together yi rek xam nga boy because most of them dañ jàngee si Babylon bi in the 70s
exactly
bu pare ndooyu ñëw toog ak Baro tamit ñoom it si Babylon bi leen jógee ko en femmes boy am na koo xam ne dañ ko daan boy dañ ko daan jox di ne ko doo indiwul doo lekka ba pare mu ne docteur la léegi
waay oncle léegi yu nekk Gambia ñëpp ñoom ñi nga on ñi ñëpp ñi ngi liggéey si RVH hospital bi dañ am awas te dañ leen dee fay private lañ ñoo ñu ne dañ ñëw comme liggéeyal pour Gambia ñoom seen clinique lañ amal affaire dañ laa téye si lopitaan ni
non understand naa li nga wax ne waaye li ma bëgg a wax foofu mooy non maa nga ñëw
boobu gën a dangerous boobu gën a
xam nga mun nga am private hospital boo xam ne mu ngi liggéey ak di central
non yow non mais ma daanu rek su ma daana leen di nga understand fu ma la waxee
bëgguma nga gaañu
man ma feebar ma dem docteur bi nga ooni mi ngi liggéey Banjul wala Serekunda ñu ne ma naka la tudd mi ngi foofu noonu te man maa ngi ñëw pour faju mu check ma ba pare mi ne ma garab yi amuñ ko fii waaye demal si clinique nangam di nga ko fa am foog naa daa xëy na maybe $3,000 si la ko gars yi di jaay botul bi loolu la laa wax fekk on clinique am la laa wax noonu waaw so man ma war a jógee ba Banjul hospital te maa ngi fay ñaari paas ba Westfield o benn paas ba Westfield ma jógee Westfield waat fayati paas ba ma njaay foofu noonu fayati paas waat ba si clinique bi ma wàcce si clinique bi sax ñu ne ma waaw ma ñu waa receipt bi wan leneen lii laa soxla garab bi laa soxla ñu ne am nañ ko 3,500 la fekk yow 3,000 nga ma wax nga ne foog nga 3,000 la fekk du 3,000 sa 1,500 la ñu rey la ñu times ko 2 pare jëlaati sa njëgi password sa loxo ñu jox la ñu jël ko sa loxo pare na la ni garab bi na danga ko naan ñetti yoon si fan yi si bés
ma ne old boy dafa amoon suma benn sister bu ma ooyoon mu ne ma dafa lii ma ne ko demal nga def check up bi mu demee def check up bi mu ne docteur yi xool yëpp def scanning everything ne ko amuloo dara stress la waaye daal te mu bindal ko benn cost boo xam ne ay 3,000 something la mu ma ne ma maam lu ma def nag kii mu ne gisul dara si man ba pare bindal ma garab ma ne ko ba pare mu ne ma demal pharmacie nangam ma ne ko mu ne ma looy def ma ne ko xotti ko sànni ko te sista baa ngi dund ba tey
xam nga maa ngi laa wax ni ma ne la yaakaar naa ne 20 years xama 18 years mosuma dem lopitaan Gambia jamono corona bi nag xam nga boobu fekk foofu moom bàyyi foos la foog nga dem def test ma dem def sama test ba pare maa ngi war a gont ñibbi maa ngi pack sama bagage yëpp ba pare nag ma dem def sama test ñëw ba ma dem test fële naka la maa ngi defoon test ba tonteewul ñu ne ma léegi résultat yi yaa nga dem jëlee ji ko fële nu mu tuddati naka la kóodu waaye dama xëy rek pour ma war dem rek sama fii di dem ma ne ma daa xam naa ne maa ngi dem rek waaye understand ma ñëw daje benn xale bu jigéen mu ngi dem ma ne ko man de kóodu laa bëgg a dem si hospital man ma xamuloo fa ma ne ko déedéet ndax mosuma fa dem mu ne ma mosuloo ñëw fi ba médico ma ne ko non mu ne ma xanaa boo ñëwee fii doo feebar ma ne ko yàlla bu ma feebar fii su ma feebaree yàlla bu ma feebar fii ma ne ko ne non man bi may ñëw danaa jënd garab yu bëri histoire su ma ñëwee si lay noonu ndaw soosu ñu ànd moom mu wan ma ñu ànd ba si hospital mu ñëw ba nag xam naa ne suñu waxtaan si boppam daal dama foog ne dafa am loo xam ne daf ko wax foofu noonu xam naa ne bi ko sax man boobu maa ngi dem rek maa ngi ak suma mer xam naa dafa am lu ma ko wax loo xam ne dama foog ne ko ma ñëw rek waa ji ñëw gàddu këyit bi egg si man dam kan may Aliou Cissé ma ne ko man mënu ma kaay fii ma ñëw mënuma da nga am négatif ma ne ko négatif mënuma wax ma ne ko waay ma ne ko jërëjëf ma ne ko gis nga man ñibbi suba sax bëgguma ko woon waaye comme wax nga ma loolu ma sant yàlla ma dem tëdd nelaw bi ko xam naa lay génneel kayit yi nga jox kooku mu ne ma da nga war a toogaat fii ñu indil la xaw ma lan ak lan ak lan ma toog foofu di ko xaar ba time bi jot muy seen ma kayit yi ma ñëw ma problème bu mag la am ma ñëw fekk boobu dafa nekk bis Saturday Saturday xam nga fii gars yi duñ liggéey man fu ma jënde woon ticket bi ñooñu comme samedi bi ñoom bu noxal Saturday bi su xasee 12 fasee jot ñoo dooru liggéey noonu laa luuse sama ticket boobu ma dem jëndaat benn ticket du ma fàtte mukk jënd sama ticket 700 ne wala 570 euro laa jëndewaat sama ticket bi ñëw ñu bëgg a yàqaat boobu noonu ma xëy ñëw eb am benn booy dem defaat tesi foofu war a dem jël résultat yi ñëw ba yegg si foofu ñu kooku mën ma doo dugg si biir ma ne ko man dama war a dem tuyal fa si bëccëg la wan si bëccëg laa war a dem booy liin laa war a dem wan si bëccëg waaye am na lu ma def su doon am na lu ma def wallaay du ma doon dugg sax si biir hospital bi su du amu pexe léegi luus naa ticket boo xam ne nii xam naa lu ma ko jëndee ñëwaat jëndaat ticket 570 euro bokkut ak passé fu ma jëm ak ñàkkaa liggéey bi ma war a ñàkkaa dem liggéey ma mujj yëkkati def loo xam ne bëgguma ko def xam nga kon ku la wax na la ne Gambie health bi mu ngi dox mu ngi lay nax te lii nii ñaar dëkk ñaar moo ko doxal health ak service police because service bi fayuñ leen nañu waxante dëgg rek xaw ma nag ñiy liggéey si health bi lu ñu leen a fay waaye service yi moom dañ leen war a fay because man loolu laa d'accord dëkk yow mënoo am sa ñetti doom sa kër am sa jabar am sa lépp di fay luwaas di yóbbu sa xale ñi lay fay yenn salaire baaxul ba pare ñoom suñ paree dem jënd 5k jënd kër yu gën a seet.
non waaye Baye Ali du loolu la ñoo wax ni fi mu nekk nii mooy ne li nga wax ni yëpp ak expenditures bi nga xam ne kenn xamul fan la moo jugee ko yow dañ laa wax ne lii mu ngi jar 20 billion tali bu baax sax amuloo ko lopitaan yu baax amuloo ko li nga wane health center health wise salary yu baax yow foofu noonu ñu ngi laa wax ne xale yu jigéen ñi jaay si restaurant yi sax dañ leen dee waa yow Ali
loolu baaxul
yow li nga wax nii lii daf di lu baax lii la yàlla santaane fekkee dañoo wax ne waaw ok ay dëkki jullit lañ léegi ñu ne nag ñi duñ leen fa teggi ñi lan lañ def Gambia lan lañ fa def Ali yow xale bu ndaw bi xam nga man temps bi ma daan wàcca airport naka la toll woon airport yi senga la woon xam nga loolu yàgg na
de
ba ñëw ba léegi nga xam ne airport bi mu ngi mel ni garage si biir kaama bi léegi gis nga ni airport bi mel
maam baay man ma wàcca airport last year 49 mobile smartphone mi ne ma suma waaji mi ne ma suma ka kaay ma wax la ma ne ko aha mi ne ma
naa xamul la
déglu le mi ne ma kaay ma wax la suma raka mi ne ma mobile yi nag naka la ma ne ko yii mi ne ma ne ko suma yos la ma ne ko tatti yëpp suma yos la waaw ma ne ko gis nga yu des mi ne manaaw ma ne ko yooyu du suma bos ñu jaamur la 19 yi yóbbante mi ne ma xanaa déglul de mel ni moom a isi Europe déglul ma waaw mi ne ma 19 yi daal xanaa benn bu nekk ñaata nga caaj gaay bu la ko gaay di jox xanaa 20 euro ndax ma ne ko waaji mi ne ma ne ko bàyyil di wax loo xamut ma ne ko nekku nekkaatee ñëw di caaj nit ñi man ñii suma am di jaama lañ ak lifin mi ne ma waa léegi nañ ko def ni fiyaa diil rek mi ne nag fee bàyyi 5 mobile mu dem
waa
déglu li ma ko wax
di way yabaate
rek suma xool bi jeex rek ma ne ko ma def ko yu baañu ni dama nangam taan sa ndey de rek mu xool ma
mu tiit
waaw ma ne ko naa yéen da ngeen foog nit ñi dañ dof rek ma dégg mi ngi wax ne ni aussi xaw ma koppul xaw ma naka di wax waaw muy oote ma ne ko da nga oote ba pare mi ne ma ne ko ana seen NI office bi mi ne ma ñu ngi ne si chat bi fii xaw ma drug squad la ma NI something waaw ñoom ngay am balaa nga am scanning bi ma dugg foofu noonu ma bàyyi leen foofu noonu mi ne hey kaay ma ne noo xaaral ma ne xanaa li mooy loi Gambia mi ne ma lu xew kooku dama ko fekk sax dama fekk am na kenn kuy joxe complain am foofu noonu mooy $1000 buñ dee fay noonu ñu ngi expliqué ko ma ne kooku dama mer ba ne kooku ne taw nga war a fay mi ne ma waaw ma jox ko 20 euro ne ko dema fayal nga continuer nga dem so ma bis boss bi foofu noonu ma wax ak moom mi ne ma lu xew ma ne ko kii ma ñëwaat 49 mobile tati yi maa ko moom 19 yu jàmbur la mi ne ma xanaa benn bu nekk ñaata laa caaj mi ne ma loolu luy affaire am dina ma wax mi ne la su la buggee ñaan la mi ne non ma bàyyi fi 5 mobile mi ne gaa oyal ko saay no I was joking bilaay dama mujjee biir suma dem biir last year noonu laa paage suma bagage yi noonu rek man ma génn danga ko abal leen foofu noonu ma ne kii wérut man
ma ne ama man li ma fa dal suma laas ñëw bi yaa ngi fàttaleku gis nga restaurant bi nekk si suuf man foofu laa dem toog di xaar suma flight bi ñëw ba pare ñoo xamuñ ne dama am escort up to the flight léegi my brother bi ma fekkee fi ma toog amewuma bagage loolu mu ngi ko jaaxal léegi ñàkk am bagage boobu mu ñëw ne ma xam nga ñàkk sécurité bi ñu am laa la wax nii mu ñëw ne ma moom ti liggéey si airport ñëw di ma ne ma indil ko ay paquet yi cigarette Europe mbaa dégg nga li ma la ni yow nga nekk di liggéey si airport
man yow rek laay déglu billahi walaay talaay
English yow xam nga sa oncle teddu gis nga fi suma laptop bi tegu maa ngi def li ma war a def man maa ngi liggéey yow xam nga waa ji liggéey rek la xam ma wàccee suma lunette ne ko my bro yow yaay kan mu ne ma waaw ma ne ko yow naka nga ma xamee mu ne ma waaw day ma check sa ID bi xam nga information li fi ni nekk si waaw fly bi yaa ma gën a xam te xam naa ne yaa ngi dem dëkka nangam sangam nangam ma ne ko waa léegi doo ma pare woon a yónni gis nga suma raka gis nga bi ma ko xoolee ndeysaan xamul ne ñu nit dama ko xool rek ne ko bro tooga ma ne ko looy naan mu ne ma kofi ma ne ko jëlal benn kofi ma ne ko gis nga duma bëggoon sa liggéey yaaxu right away fi ma toog nii yaaxal naa la sa liggéey yow xam nga li nga def nii lan lañ ko ooyee smuggling a uniform man rek pare ekkati suma kàddu rek mu ne ma mag ji ma ne ko waa doxal dëkk boobu moo amul security bro si benn level security amul fa
métti de ma isi garab tam ñu ma wax ne garab yi pour lal la ma ne ko pour high blood pressure la waaw mi ne ma mun nga maa woon receipt yi ma woon ko receipt bi mi ne ma ñaata nga ko jëndee rek ma ne ko damaa nangam sanday de
yow na bàyyil nangam sanday bi na bàyyil nangam
non parce que nga du xew nga ne ma woon la receipt bi di nga gis price bi si receipt bi
waaw booy yow xam nga garab yooyu noonu yow xam nga yow garab yooyu yaa ngi ko jëndee yooyu garab yooyu yaa ngi dem si correct pharmacie yow léegi pharmacie yi nekk Gambia dañ mel ni boutique poli léegi ñoo boutique poli ñooy compete
ay léegi Mame Mbaye soo buggee
daf dee am nag
si Scandinavia bi
daf dee am nag
bul jënd Scandinavia garab traa nga dem Russia oo nga kuy dem Russia jox ko xaalis ne ko mu jëndal la garab ay forote yooyu noonu nga isi gis nga kook ci may Gambia benn gis nga kooku waa su ko laalee yaram
non man li ma bëgg a wax sax ñun waruñoo dem ba Russia waruñoo dem ba fenn uti fa garab duñ amoon système bu correct ñun we lack of a correct system old boy
non dama la nekk di expliquer de système bi wax ni soxla nañ ko de waaye man suma garab yëpp
di moo amul système bu correct non boy yow seetal suñ lopitaan bi foofu laa waxee ne pharmacie yi ñu fa mel ni di compete bitigi poli
waaw loolu
pharmacie yi ñooy compete bitigi poli
Gambia da nga war a understand ne American si dañ dee ñëw di faju foofu loolu nga war a understand so
waaye daf dee am nag xam nga daf la siya dama fa dajeeg benn tubaab latin yooyu xaw ma nag moom lan lay defee garab yooyu waaye garab yi mi di foofu maanaam wëlis bi dafa fees ak garab waaye garab yi daal xam naa ne si biñ ko xoolee si airport bi foofu garab yi dafa spare léegi nag maa ngi dégg kooku mu koy laaj na ko yow garab yi pour lan la mu ne moom da ko ñëw da ko maye waaye di ko gis sax di mer sax di wax mu ne ko léegi yow maanaam yow loo xam ne day ñëw rey si dëkk ngay ñëw may ñu ko waaye garab yi moom dafa bëri sax nag man dama ko gis
waaw man foofu laay waxee système bu baax dëkk bu am système bu baax kenn du jëlee garab mbedda sax di ko fa indi
waaw xaw ma nag
xanaa nga am special medication yoo xam ne docteur moo la ko jox nga am doctor certificate pour your own thing nga dugal si dëkk boobu booy ñun dañ dee dox dëkk bu amul système bu correct mooy mel ni pharmacie yi mel ni boutique yi pël yi koñ boo dem yaa ngi fa am pharmacie te ñuy liggéey foofu sax they don't know nothing about pharmacy tech nothing dañoo am seen mbokk mu mel ni Maam Baye Fall nekk si système bi rek di sàcc di leen ko jox am naa ñu ma sax am si loolu leen jógee dugga England waaw boy ñun we are part of the system en femmes
buba xam
nañ ko depuis démb la woon waaye na gaay wéet ci bagage si femmes
lii moom dégg boobu man maa ko gisal sama bopp loolu moom wax dëgg man
waaw yow leneen ak leneen ngay gis sax Gambia googu toogal rek
boobu
man Afrique benn dëkk rek laa xamoon ne ñu ngi jaay garab comme gerte mooy Ghana dañoo jël garab def ko si plant te dañ dëgër fit Ghanaian moo gën a dëgër fit janax
ma ne Yundum airport googu doo fa demee fekk ko fa femmes Yundum airport doo fa demee dafa mel ni marché Serekunda garab bi danga ko jënd noonu si bunti airport bi femmes doo buggee tux sax danga ko am si bunti airport bi doo wàccee am bopp bu métti
lan zipay
hay ma ne doo wàccee am bopp hay femmes suñ airport boobu is a joke gis nga ne hospital bi nekkee joke noonu la airport bi nekkee joke airport bi tontu bi hustling center
fan la ñoo jëm
du caan femmes benn bés dañ ñëw foofu wàcce foofu noonu benn at ma ànd nag suma benn boy waaw musicien ñu wàcce rek mu ne ma maam dinaa lijjante ko de ma ne ko hi boy mu ne ma xay fii airport la ma ne ko nga ne ma lan waaye brodo bi noonu la ko lijjante yu ba pare ngeen ne yéen dëkka ngeen am yéen seetal lopitaan bi mel ni mbaliti Banjuli mbaliti Serekunda
na femmes dem si suma page bi first lifin bu ngay gis nga click ko lu tilim loolu waaye système bi daf ko ragaloon na record lopitaan ni biir Kaama la nga gis mbooti ni ñu eggee si kaw lifi dama si suma page bi rek ñu ko gis
yow boy yow
non na dem suma page bi dama suma page bi femme
non gis naa ko
waaw lu brand loolu noonu lopitaan ni biir Kaama la biir Kaama si kaw toogu bi mbooti nga gis mbooti nu ñoo salaamaaleykum moo nit ñi foofu
boy jamono ji ma wax ne am na benn lopitaan bu nekk West Coast duma la wax turam amuñ ventilation amuñ inhalator amuñ gas system West Coast yow xamaguma nag fan la ñoo dem xam nga keroog dama la wax loolu ma ne la yow da nga wax ba léegi yaa ngi bay jaaw mel ni maam waaye yàlla dinañu dégga
Maam Baye ñu ne dee tooñ yàlla def fu mu nekk ni Gambien
déedéet yàlla dinañu dégga yàlla yéen a fi doon lëmbal tëdu
déedéet ñun léegi te ñoom temps bi jot na léegi ma dem
gisuloo loolu du tooñ yàlla ajuma bési
déedéet waaye déedéet
wasiyam abada ana muhammadan le mutar
suñu seex bi laa la wax de seex
déglu loo bi mu ne ko
seex ba dajale de mu ne ku ci Fallou Bakar
encore
dootu dégg jaay
encore nga ne naka wasal déedéet mu ne ko déedéet